Hi, this is Savannah,
And this is Brian from the Dorky Diva Show,
and you're listening to Star Wars.
the best place for below average Star Wars.
In a world where people need 80s and 90s movie reviews, two regular Geordies combine forces to bring you the Brother to Brother 80s and 90s movie review podcast. Check them out on Twitter, YouTube, and all decent podcast vendors.
Star Wars, best place for below average Star Wars.
Hello there, and welcome to the Star Wars Show, the best place for below average Star Wars. I am the Jolly Jedi Pete.
I'm Jason Hondo Ling.
And I'm Kat Rees-Yauke.
And we are back with a brand new episode of Star Wars. We're here to talk Star Wars, get nice and sweaty talking about it. There's been a couple of good bits of news dropped in the last week. We're going to start off talking about the Acolyte casting news. For those of you who are unsure of what Acolyte is, it is a new TV series coming to Disney Plus, being produced by Leslie Headland. It's going to be set in the final days of the High Republic era in the Star Wars timeline. It's going to focus on the emergence of secretive dark side powers. And for you guys out there who are unfamiliar with the High Republic era is said to have ended about 50 years prior to the events of the Phantom Menace. At the minute, there's a High Republic publishing initiative, loads of cool, awesome books out there telling the stories of the High Republic, and those are telling the stories from about 100 years before the Phantom Menace. So that's the sort of timeline we're in. Before we get into the casting news, Kat, how have you been enjoying the High Republic stories so far?
The High Republic is an absolutely wonderful, interconnected set of Star Wars storytelling. It's almost got sort of that multiverse feeling for Marvel, actually, because every wave of stories is interconnected. Characters are reappearing. You're getting to see them grow and develop. It's some of my favourite Star Wars literature that's been produced, I think, since Disney took over the canon. The range of authors they've got doing it. You've got Cavan Scott, Charles Soule, Justina Ireland, Claudia Gray. You've got the godfathers and godmothers of Star Wars literature on this, and the comics, the books, whether that's for adults or young adults or just the middle grade novels, everything is just absolutely amazing. Even if you've never sort of stepped into the Star Wars world, this is something you can just come right into, because there aren't any characters who are part of sort of the saga that we know. There are references. There's Yoda does turn up. There's references to characters who perhaps we will know. They're sort of ancestors, but you can come into this completely fresh and still enjoy it. I will warn you, though, anybody who wants to step into the High Republic, firstly, it's a lot of literature to take in. There's comics, there's books, and you've got to go with the publishing order, otherwise you will spoil yourself. And secondly, there are some that will absolutely rip your heart out, leave you heartbroken and stress-eating ice cream. I'm looking at you, Cavan Scott, and the Rising Storm. Still not over that ending.
And how do you feel about sort of the Acolyte taking place in the final days of the High Republic? Sort of the Acolyte's going to be the TV show that maybe puts the final bow on this storytelling initiative.
I think that's really going to actually end the High Republic well, because the way it started, it was the golden era of the Republic. The Jedi were at their might. It's peace, prosperity. People are adventurous. They're looking to colonize and pioneer on new worlds. And, there's this sense of hope and enjoyment. But already we're into about the second and third waves of the High Republic. And already the storyline is getting darker. There's a sense of the Jedi losing hope. There's fear. The Republic is already sort of crumbling at the edges. So really, the dark side emerging at the end of that is basically the only place it can go, because the High Republic was that golden era, and then after that, nothing could live up to that. So it's got to end on quite a dark beat, I think.
Definitely. And then talking about the casting news, which I haven't heard any casting news so far about this. So I think this is the first casting news to be said. But it is being reported that Amandla Stenberg is in talks to join the upcoming Disney Plus project. The way it's been talked about and reported is that it's a done deal. Lucasfilm haven't responded. They don't really respond to much. And neither have reps of Stenberg, which, they're not going to respond either. Nothing's been said about who Stenberg may be playing. For those who don't know who Amandla Stenberg is, they did star in the movies The Hate You Give, which was a fantastic film, if anyone's seen that. The Darkest Minds, which I also enjoyed, and also Everything, which I have not seen. So that's sort of the roles they played before. So you might want to go back and check out those. Jason, are you familiar with Stenberg, and how do you feel about us getting some casting news for this show? I almost feel that the fact that we're getting casting news shows that this show is moving along now, and could be entering pre-production really soon.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I've not really the High Republic. I've not delved into yet, which I've got to. And also, I don't really know any of the casting and the actress they've announced, or they haven't announced but is suggested. So it's all a bit fresh for me. The idea of the Acolyte really appeals to me, because I would like to see how the darkness from the Sith and everything rose up. So it's something that I'm looking forward to seeing. But it's not something that I've really, because there's been so little information about it, I haven't really bothered with it yet. So it's something I've got to pick up on.
And Kat, how do you feel about sort of us getting some casting news about this?
It's quite surprising, really. Acolyte was announced quite a while back now as just literally as sort of just a working title, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we have this casting announcement. So it's quite surprising. Great to see some representation, though, in the casting announcement, which is obviously exciting for whoever character Stenberg's going to be playing. But I think before we can sort of start really talking about it, we need sort of more information about the Acolytes. If it was entering pre-production, that would be really, really cool. Sort of taking the High Republic onto the television. And it would be nice to then have some information so that we can start tying together who's being cast for what.
Yeah, so just for context, the Acolyte was officially announced on May the 4th, 2020 by Disney and Lucasfilm. And the show is slated to begin production in mid-2022. So I suppose if it's going to begin production in 2022, I suppose pre-production will be getting finalised now, which is great news. Obviously, you did highlight the fact about representation there, Kat. I think, Amandla Stenberg does identify as non-binary. And I think that's really important that we're getting this representation in Star Wars. It slowly but surely is starting to get there. Sort of more women, more people of colour. Now we've got non-binary in the literature. We've had some gay characters in there, which is also good. And slowly but surely, we're going to get there with sort of representing everybody. On the camera. On the camera and behind the camera.
Because in the literature, you've got in the literature, I feel you've got way more representation. You've got Dr. Afra, who's lesbian. You've got some of the then sort of gay characters in Aftermath. You have Ray Sloan, who's asexual, and now we've got a non-binary being casted for a television show. This is what we want. We want this representation, and it definitely needs to happen. So I'm really pleased about that.
Yeah, definitely. Moving on from the Acolyte, Book of Boba Fett. Obviously, we're 3 weeks away now from episode 1 airing at the end of December. We got our 3rd TV spot yesterday. It's like our 4th bit of footage. We obviously got the official trailer, and then we've had 3 TV spots now, so it's like 4 official videos. Jason, we'll start with you. What were your thoughts on this TV spot that dropped yesterday out of the blue?
Obviously, a lot of it was familiar territory from what we've seen previously. But for me, that I've watched it a couple of times now, and it just sort of stuck for me that I was like, yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing this show now. And obviously, I think we've mentioned before, it's that line at the end where he says, "I am Boba Fett." Yeah, it's looking more and more like a really exciting series. Obviously, they're building up the promotion for it. I saw just before we came on recording there's been some new information out from Jon Favreau and I think it was Robert Rodriguez talking about it again. So obviously, we've got a big build up coming. And I think basically the end of 2021 can't come quick enough for most of us.
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the things I loved about this teaser, the sort of the 3rd TV spot we've had, is that, we get the line "I am Boba Fett," which we've had in all of them so far. A lot of similar footage in here. But the beginning where we see sort of the Tusken Raiders coming out of the sort of the storm, almost as if maybe the Tusken Raiders are going to be the people who find him and who maybe save his life.
Yeah, I was wondering that as well, because obviously they sort of then cut to that scene of him in the Bacta tank and then to him putting on the helmet. So yeah, that was my mindset as well, which again would also sort of link to I think they showed him with the Tusken Raiders. Was he shown with the Tusken Raiders at some point in Mando as well? No, that was obviously that's Mando and Cobb Vanth, isn't it? So, but yeah, that I have to admit, I think that is possibly the way they're going to go. That he got rescued from the Sarlacc pit, and I think that's going to lead to. Obviously, we've seen him with the gaffy stick in The Mandalorian. So obviously, it would stand to reason if he's been hanging out with the Sand people, that's what he's ended up with.
Yeah, I think we're going to get a lot of time jumping in this season. I mean, definitely in the first episode. I think obviously, we see him sort of crouching down looking at Jabba's palace in the same attire we see him in The Mandalorian before he gets his armor back. And he's sort of looking at the hangar of Jabba's palace, so that's probably where Slave One is. So has he finally healed a bit? The Tuskens have set them up, given weapons, given food, helped him get his energy back. And then is that him plotting to steal his ship back so he can then go after Mandalorian, get the armor back. Then once he gets the armor back and he fulfills his promise to Mando to get the child back, he then comes back to Tatooine, which is the cutscene we see at the end of Mando where he takes the throne.
Yeah, and was it just me, or did that ship that they show, I think, flying over Tatooine, look very similar to the Millennium Falcon from Solo?
It definitely looked like a YT model. I don't think it's a YT 1200 though.
No.
Was it not too big, like in scale? I get the way it was flying, but it also turned. So if you watch it again, it looks like a big sort of cruiser.
The
Yeah,
engines do look similar to a YT model. I do see where Jason's coming from because I zoomed in on the shots. Um, I was trying to figure out myself. I can't tell if it's rectangular and turning or circular and rotating.
yeah,
So there was
that's
people saying that it could be the Outrider from Shadows of the Empire, Dash Rendor's ship. But I think if you watch the shot, the size of it compared to the city underneath it, it seems very large. Maybe that's my interpretation. Is that it's a very large ship.
I definitely felt that was there for a reason. I don't know why, but I just felt like it was there to give us a hint to something.
It's probably going to be an important ship.
And the I did enjoy the footage of Slave One when that was flying along. I thought, yes, that's what we wanted to see.
Yeah, it's essentially the greatest hits in the greatest hits of Boba, just to whet the appetites for it. Kat, what were your thoughts on this TV spot? Were you surprised to see it drop out the blue, or were you expecting it? And then also, what were your thoughts on what we actually got?
I think I just expect the unexpected with the Book of Boba Fett teasers. There, there's no warning; they're just there all of a sudden. I think what really struck me of this particular one, which I think is entitled "The Return," is there's a shot around about the 40-second mark of some speeder bikes, and the speeder bike riders are Weequays, which is Hondo Anarka's species. And during Return of the Jedi, they were henchmen of Jabba the Hutt. They were his cronies, so I'm assuming their loyalty was to him. But this speeder bike gang, they look like bad news. And I wonder if this is one of the gangs that Boba Fett is going to be trying to take out, because in the next shot we see what almost looks like a slaver's ship with I think possibly the same Weequays. They're definitely Weequays. So I'm wondering, actually, is Boba sort of? We know he's got morals. You know, he's a bounty hunter. He does have morals. There's a code. The Mandalorians have a code. He definitely has morals and beliefs. I'm thinking he's definitely going to accept, a bounty hunting. That's got a guild. A lot of the traders have guilds, the Scrappers Guild. But I'm wondering, is he going to then draw the line at slavery? And he's going to be like, nope, no slavery. We're freeing the slaves of Tatooine. And is he going to be taking down some of the gangs who won't adhere to his code?
Or could it be Hondo and his gang of pirates?
Ugh. But I mean, I would be really surprised if Hondo starts taking slaves, because that's what that scene looks like. I mean, they've got like electro rods. There's two people who look in distress. So it's quite hard to tell the context of that scene.
I just want Hondo in live action. Sorry.
We know.
Definitely, but
know.
If you got him in this show, Boba's probably going to kill him. So would you rather wait or have him now and have him die?
Yeah, I suppose that's a difficult one, because obviously, well, Hondo's obviously about for Galaxy's Edge, so yeah.
Any closing thoughts on the TV spot, Jason, and what you're looking forward to most about the series that's coming?
I'm just looking forward to, again, Star Wars live action, some familiar characters, but I'm also looking forward to being introduced to some new ones. I love it's Jennifer Beal, isn't it? Is in the toilet. I'm looking forward to seeing what part she plays. And yeah, I really, really want to see more live action Star Wars. I'm hoping Robert Rodriguez is going to live up to what he said. And I'm really hoping for plenty of action as well.
Yeah, I think all of these TV spots so far have shown like a glimpse of action, whether it's brawling, people pulling blasters, people activating shields, people throwing sharp blades at people. Cuts to like quick cuts in these trailers so far of like bits of action. So I think that's setting a tone of sort of what to expect. Kat, obviously what Jason said there about, the Twi'leks who've been sort of the centre of attention in each of these TV spots so far. There's always been a little scene in each of these TV spots so far showing the Twi'leks. Obviously, we know that Jabba had slave Twi'leks. And obviously, you mentioned about the slavers and the slave trade. So maybe that's going to be a big part of this season, like you said. And that's going to aggravate a lot of people because the slave trade is probably a big money earner for the gangsters of Tatooine. And if someone's going to offer to take that away, you're damn right they're going to be up in arms about it and fight back.
Yeah, that would be sort of a really interesting storyline. I think what I'm most excited about is the prospect of just something really new in the Star Wars galaxy, looking at this underworld of the gangsters, and if Boba Fett is going to be trying to bring some laws and moral codes to them, that would be really different, really fresh, and promising lots of action. Because if there's one thing I loved, it was that almost right at the end of this teaser, Fennec just quite normally and calmly pulls out a dagger from her blaster and just throws it. She has a dagger hidden in her blaster. I mean, can you get cooler than that?
Can you get deadlier than that as well?
Absolutely. I mean, where else does she hide daggers?
I think we're going to find out, and I think it's going to be a lot of places. Anybody got any closing thoughts on Book of Boba Fett? Do you think next week we'll get another TV spot?
Yeah, I think we're almost certain to get at least one more, if not a couple more. They seem to be churning them out, and maybe we'll get a few other teasers.
I think it's likely. I think with the run-up to Book of Boba Fett getting closer and closer, I think we're going to have a teaser probably once a week.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, moving on from Book of Boba Fett. I'm sure next week when we get together, there'll be more to talk about because it seems to be every week there's more and more. We're going to talk about Hasbro and the Black Series RANCOR, which we've talked about the past few weeks. The crowdfunding has ended. It ended short, so it needed 9,000 backers to hit the target. It ended on 8,533. So, about 500 away from where it needed to be. A lot of those are sort of last day ones. So it's not getting made. For me, I'm not really surprised. I think for whatever reason, the Hasbro team really sort of failed to understand what tiers the fans would want to make this work. The tiers are really poor. And the price point of the RANCOR was very expensive anyway. I think if those tiers had been what the fans wanted, you would have backed it no problem. Jason, what were your thoughts on sort of the pricing in the tiers and also finding out that it hadn't been backed?
I'll be honest, I wasn't overexcited about it from the starting point. Obviously, with the previous two, they were classics. So, Jabba's sail barge and the Razor Crest, I think we're always going to get backed. This, first of all, when I heard it was the RANCOR, I thought, okay, that's going to be okay. And then the price point that's pretty steep. And then when they started announcing the extras, it just didn't ring right for me, and a lot of it just looked like repackaged stuff. Really the only original thing they were looking at was the bones, which, let's face it, weren't that original in their cells. And I know, obviously, last episode you spoke about how if they wanted to get it through, they needed to bring out the Malachite figure and the Una figure, well, they only then, as a last ditch effort to save the project, sort of offered the one of those two figures. And even then, I didn't see anywhere online where people were getting overexcited about it. So I think as a whole, they dropped the ball a bit on what they thought the people wanted. So it'll be interesting to see what happens, because I know they did say in the press release when they announced it hadn't got the backing, that they were looking forward to their next project. So it'll be interesting to see what the next project is, and if they're going to listen to people, who they're going to talk to get their advice before they decide what they're going to do.
Yeah, I think for me, this would have sold over 20,000 copies, no problem, if they'd done the basics right. The bones and the backdrop, the cardboard backdrop and the bones should have came with the RANCOR standard. The first tier should have been the Luke Skywalker figure that they put as the fourth tier. That should have been the first tier to get the fans excited. And then what I would in the second tier, I would have said it's the RANCOR Keeper Malachi carded with the Return of the Jedi coin. And then third tier, I would have had Ula, the dancer, again carded with the coin from Return of the Jedi. And then fourth tier is when I would have had the Gamorrean guard carded with the coin. And that thing would have hit 20,000 units straight away, because you've got the two figures that people want. You've got in the middle of the tiers. People will be buying 5 of them each, just to get those figures. Would have hit 20,000 units, no problem. But I think to offer tier 2 to be some plastic bones and a cardboard backdrop, I think it's an absolute disgrace from Hasbro, especially when this thing's priced at over £300. It's close to £350. And to give us some bones and a cardboard backdrop at the second tier, it's pretty disgraceful, to be honest with you. So I was I backed it. I was sort of glad it didn't get backed at the end, because I was like, when I first backed it, I thought, oh, we're going to get some really good tiers here, and it's going to be interesting to see it go beyond. But it was never going to go beyond. It was going to crawl over the line, if anything, and we wouldn't have got anything extra. So I'm sort of glad it didn't get backed. But I hope Hasbro don't just see this as the fans' fault. They need to look at what the team's delivered here. They've delivered a product that a lot of people are complaining about. A lot of people are giving them honest feedback on. And it could have been so different had those tiers just been different. Kat, have you got any thoughts on the RANCOR and it failing?
Oh, mighty RANCOR, lost but never forgotten. Quite literally in this case, because there's no way fans are going to forget the first HasLab failure. I think it was just doomed from the start. It was overpriced. Then that tier 2 was announced of plastic bones and cardboard. And each tier was basically, I think, just another nail in the RANCOR's coffin. It was not going well. We can only hope, Black Series collectors especially, that the Hasbro design team are going to review this, and they're going to take lessons from this failure to improve. No more plastic bones or cardboard in the future. Let's start there. They need to just listen to the Black Series fans. There's so many collecting forums. There's the social media. The fans are pretty open with what they want. And if they'd listened to the feedback, they would have got that RANCOR backed. But instead, they just went and did what to me seems very strange and weird marketing. I don't know who in the marketing team signed off on, yeah, it's great to have plastic bones at tier 2 and a repackaged Gamorrean guard. For £350, about $450, it needed to be way more impressive, way more exclusive. So Hasbro just need to listen to the fans, and I think they definitely need to look more at what's iconic in the Star Wars galaxy. it's not that the Rancor isn't iconic, but I mean, it's not actually named in the film. It's not called. I think. Well, actually, 3PO I think maybe calls it the Rancor once, but it's not as iconic as other creatures in the Star Wars galaxy. It's not as iconic as the ships, and I think that's where perhaps HasLab should be staying and sticking to is the ships. Those are big collector's items that they can do so much more with, and they are better value for money. So yeah, it's disappointing for many collectors and fans, and I sympathize. But at the end of the day, I just hope that the next HasLab product that they've got up their sleeves is better than the Rancor.
Hopefully. Moving on from Rancor, rest in peace, buddy. Jason, I know that you have reviewed the new book, Secrets of the Sith, for us. Do you want to let listeners know what the book is about?
Right, well, Secrets of the Sith, for anyone who hadn't previously seen Secrets of the Jedi, is a lovely little hardback, well, A4-sized hardback book written by Mark Samarak and illustrated by Sergio Gomez Silvan. Have I got that right, Kat?
It sounds close. Apologies if we get the names
Yeah,
wrong.
but it's a beautiful piece of it's just a brilliant book full of some gorgeous artwork, written from the perspective of Darth Sidious himself, and basically taking you through the story, explaining where the Sith come from and all sorts of little things. And like the Secrets of the Jedi before it, there's lots of little pull-out pieces with little bits of words of wisdom from the Sith, and you've got a little pop-up holocron and a wayfinder. And it's an enjoyable book, whether you're a child or an adult. My little 8-year-old, she sat there and stared at it, and she was like, "Oh, look at this, look at this." But also to read through and explore the Sith in literature, and from the point of Darth Sidious, it's just a really fun book. And I think at the moment on Amazon, it's about £12.49. So it's just one of those books. If you can get it, I would say get both the Secrets of the Jedi and the Secrets of the Sith. And, if you're a Star Wars fan, they're just a lovely little piece to have together.
What was your favourite fact that you found out in Secrets of the Sith?
Oh, this is where you're going to... well, they go into the Sith's lightsabers, and you've got this amazing fold-out section. So it looks at the lightsabers, and then it starts taking you through the different sabers for the different Sith that we've seen in the films. So you've got Darth Sidious, Darth Tyrannus, Darth Maul, Darth Vader, and it's got one of my favourite characters, Asajj Ventress. And it goes into obviously how the kyber crystals are made to bleed to get the red colour. It also goes into the Inquisitorius, and all this strange group known as the Knights of Ren, which I think Kat's a bit of a fan of. And also there are parts of it that are almost trying to dig J.J. Abrams out of a hole, because it goes into explaining about how Palpatine managed to return and everything. So, it's just, as I say, it is an absolutely beautiful book. I'll be honest, I still haven't finished exploring it properly because there's so much written word. Although it looks like a relatively thin hardback book, there's a lot of information in there to work your way through.
Kat, are you excited to find out about the Knights of Ren?
Well, to be fair, I haven't got the book yet, and there is actually quite a bit to do with the Knights of Ren at the moment. We have obviously the Rise of Kylo Ren by Charles Soule, but Soule's new series, Crimson Dawn, I think Crimson Reign, it's called, which has just started this month, actually features the Knights of Ren, led by Ren. So this is before Ben falls to the dark side, and there's even a little baby Knight of Ren. So if you want to explore more about them, I would recommend checking that series out.
I think I will, because I love reading about the Knights of Ren. Is Crimson Reign set during the original trilogy?
It is set just after The Empire Strikes Back.
Does it tie into War of the Bounty Hunters and all that storytelling happening at the minute?
Yes, so War of the Bounty Hunters and parts of the Darth Vader current arc by Greg Pak are both feeding into Crimson Reign.
Fantastic. Jason, which is your favourite lightsaber of the Sith?
Oh, it's got to be Darth Maul's. I love the double-ended saber. I have to admit, I keep looking, and I am tempted to look at finding out how much I could get one from a certain lightsaber supplier. But yeah, I do like that one. The other one I've actually been looking at is Revan's lightsaber. But yeah, the problem is the Sith lightsabers for me, in some ways they look a little bit sleeker, and a little bit deadlier in their design a lot of the time.
I think so, definitely. I think my favourite is probably... I'm probably going to say Darth Sidious's, just because of how elegant it looks, but also how deadly, and it's elegant almost as if it's in disguise, which is what he is. So his lightsaber sort of perfectly fits him, as in its true identity is hidden. It looks elegant and nice and golden, and looks like something, the finest gentleman in the galaxy would own, but actually it's the most despised, despicable man's lightsaber. Obviously he promotes himself as being this gentleman, this world leader who's a good man, but actually he's far from it. Kat, have you got a favourite Sith lightsaber, and why is it Kylo Ren's?
Actually, well, firstly, Kylo isn't a Sith, so I can't actually go with Kylo Ren's lightsaber, because he's a dark sider, but he isn't a Sith. It always actually rankles me when I see him in like Sith packs and on Sith books, because he isn't a Sith, people. No, my favourite Sith lightsaber is actually the Grand Inquisitor's. I love the fact that it can be double-bladed or single-bladed, dependent on the fighting style. They spin. They can basically fly with them. They can chop things and cut. I mean, literally. I mean, it's like a do-it-all kind of lightsaber, and I really think it's one of probably the most unique designs of Sith lightsabers. So
But,
that's definitely.
Kat, strictly speaking, isn't the Grand Inquisitor's not a Sith, because he's not the ruler too.
Is it in the book though?
Yeah, they're in the book, but then again, so's Kylo Ren.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna get into quite some deep philosophy here on who's a Sith. Okay, difference. He was trained by Darth Vader though, so he was trained by a Sith, just like Asajj Ventress.
Yeah, true.
Which Kylo Ren wasn't.
Well, no, Kylo Ren. Well, was he trained by Darth Sidious?
Okay, this is getting way too complex. The Grand Inquisitor's lightsaber is my favorite Sith lightsaber, whether or not you think that the Grand Inquisitor is a Sith.
Cool.
He's allied with the Sith. I mean, that's close enough.
I just like playing devil's advocate with you. You know that.
Oh.
In fact, I'm going to use one of my affirmation cards. I have good in me. If I fall into darkness, I can always find my way back to the light. Now, can you guess which character that's from, Kat?
Back to the light. Darth Maul?
No. Close.
Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Is it anything? What other cool artifacts I mentioned apart from lightsabers, Jason?
As I say, there's a brilliant. It's a really nice pop-up wayfinder, and obviously it goes into the use of the wayfinder and that. So that's really really cool. At the opening of the book, you've got a pop-up holocron as well, which obviously plays quite a major part in like the Rebels series, obviously. So you have got this lovely red holocron, and yeah, so it gives you all sorts of. There's quite a cool piece here. Sorry, I had to turn to it and find it, where it's talking about dark apprentices, and you've got it's a picture of Vader, and then you flip it over, and it's Vader's suit, or the outline of his costume, and then inside you can see like the burnt remains of Anakin, the shadow burnt remains of Anakin Skywalker.
This is a children's book.
I know. It's like I said, it's children's and adults, and it is, I would argue that it isn't. On Cat, there's a page, The Rise and Fall of the Skywalkers. And there's a lovely little pull-out, and you've got a picture of, at the top you've got Vader, you've got on the opposite side Kylo Ren, in the centre you've got Shmi Skywalker, then you've got Anakin, Padme, Luke and Leia, and then you've got Ben, and it's very much a young-looking Ben Solo in Jedi robes with Han Solo beside him.
Oh my gosh, now you're breaking my heart.
So yeah, there's, as I say, there is some awesome artwork in there, and I received it a couple of days ago, so I've only really had a quick flick through, picked pieces out, and looked at it. And it's just one of those books that I think I'll be able to pick up over and over again and find something new in it, which I love books like that. And I love you can pick your way through and find different bits of information.
Definitely. Kat, do you own the Jedi book, The Secrets of the Jedi?
No, surprisingly, I don't own either of these two books, but with Jason raving about the artwork, I might have to. Half of the books, Star Wars books I own just for the artwork. I love seeing artists' different interpretations of Star Wars.
Well, I think Jason saw it about me as well. I'm going to have to try and pick up both of them, I think, because it'll be good to learn facts and the secrets of both the Jedi and the Sith, especially in the lead up to things like Acolyte, but are going to be delving even more into Sith secrets as well. Moving on from that, I know that there's some Lego news that you want to talk about, Kat, if you want to take it away.
Yes, I do. So the LEGO Group have just announced 40539 Ahsoka Tano as a new Brickheads figure. The Brickheads figures have come a long way since being introduced in 2015. They are now up to their 150th figure, which is this Ahsoka model. And I can confirm, because I had an early review copy, that it is an absolutely incredible little Lego set. She's 164 pieces, retails for $9.99, dollars, pounds, and euros. So great value for money. Ahsoka is based on her Clone Wars Season 7 outfit. So her navy and light grey battle gear with Anakin's modified blue lightsabers. And she really, considering sort of that Lego bricks are, and the brickheads in particular, are quite blocky, she really does look amazing. Her facial markings that are printed. They've done a great job of getting her Montrals and Leku correct with the blue and white stripes. And if you're a Star Wars Lego fan, this is a must-have. What I'm really hoping for now is the fact that now they've done a Clone Wars Ahsoka, that they may do more Clone Wars brickheads, because that's an area of Star Wars they haven't explored within this sort of sub-range.
Yeah, maybe, if this sells well, which, it's Ahsoka, the character's now been hot out with the Mandalorian appearance, with the Ahsoka show coming soon. If this unit sells well, then hopefully, we might get a Cody, might get a Rex. We could get Hondo.
Yay!
We could get an Asajj Ventress.
Oh, that'd be awesome. That would.
Lots of awesome ones. I don't know if you guys heard about this, but speaking of Lego, apparently there's been some complaints about the Ultimate Collector's Edition AT-AT, where people can't take it apart properly to rebuild it.
Yeah, I saw something about this. It's the unbreakable Lego that they didn't think was possible.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how Lego respond.
They have responded.
Oh, have they? Hot off the press.
Yes, they have responded. And I'm actually quite surprised at this response. So, yes, it does appear that people who have built the AT-AT are saying that some of the middle sections and the way the legs attach to the body are not possible to take apart. The Lego group have responded, and basically they've sort of given verbal instructions on how to take it apart. And it sounds incredibly difficult. They're saying, oh, push on this Technic rod while holding this Technic rod 1/4 out of this, or put the model on its side and then push, and put your finger here to make sure it doesn't go all the way through. Well, that's great maybe if you're nimble-fingered and have tiny hands, but I'm not convinced, personally, that this is possible.
It does make me laugh, though, because there's been quite a few AT-AT models, and each time the main complaint's been it's not stable, it falls over, it falls to pieces. Now they've made it so stable that people are moaning they can't take it to pieces.
The irony is as sweet as hot snow.
Indeed. What I think is hilarious is that obviously these complaints started coming in. I wonder if Lego sort of had to put a team on it to figure out how to take it apart to then respond.
I have no idea. I mean, all Lego sets are all Lego sets are designed to be taken apart, except supposedly this one. I think what we need is one of the Lego designers. Please come onto YouTube, show us how it's done. I mean, verbal instructions are one thing, but if you're as good as me at IKEA, which is not good at all, then instructions are useless. I need visual guides and representations.
Yeah, I think that's actually a great idea. That's what they do need to do. I think that would get a great response as well. I think
it would.
Here you go.
Yeah, and that's something that Lego seem to have really mastered at the moment is their marketing. It's like I don't know where it appeared from, but I saw a video that popped up as like an advertisement, and it shows first of all like stormtroopers running around, actual acting stormtroopers with giant like Lego croissants and bits of Lego the sort of accessories, and then the next thing it cuts to a kid dropping the Lego accessories down on top of their Lego stormtroopers, and I thought that is an absolutely brilliant video, and the way they've done it is just so cool.
That's part of Lego's Rebuild the World.
That's it.
Videos.
It just some of the stuff that they're bringing out at the moment, and also as I think I've I don't think I've mentioned it on here, but it was the fact that they've now, when they launched the Eternals Lego sets, they got several of the actors together and presented them with their minifigures. And Kat and I know a rather interesting story about the first time this happened recently.
You want to share the story?
Are we allowed to, Kat?
I don't know. It's on your head.
I don't know if you've noticed, it was a little incident. Our good friend Mr. Burns interviewed Ming-Na Wen for the I think it was when she was doing The Mandalorian.
So this one she got sent 2 sets. She got sent 2 sets, didn't she? Is that right?
Yeah. And obviously, because James interviewed her and he showed her the figure for the first time, she'd never seen it. And he said, "Oh, we'll have a word with Lego." And miraculously, Lego sent her a set, which was really, really. So I've sort of joked with James that he obviously gave them the idea.
James from Jedi News doing Lego's job for them.
Yeah, but I have to admit, I'm surprised no one's come up with it before, because since they've been doing all of these sets, it's a no-brainer. Get the actors with their sets. You know, everyone loves their own action figure, and who doesn't love their own Lego minifigure?
Yeah, I think it's just a case of timing. Like, are they doing press? Are they available to come and get the figure? I think that's probably all that sort of stuff probably comes into mind. Speaking of Jedi News, they've got an article up, and I hope I don't make you cry, Kat. This might make you cry a little bit. Obviously, the Starkiller base data bank's got a big update, and there's loads of information there. I'm not going to read through all of it, but the very last bit about Starkiller base says this: Starkiller base both imploded and then exploded, resulting in the planet turning into a microstar. The star was unofficially called Solo to honor the fallen veteran who lost his life on the base.
I have seen this, and I must admit, firstly, it's beautiful, but I don't actually know why this is a new piece of news, because I already knew this. And I've been trying to remember all day where I've read it. But I have read it somewhere.
In a novel, you think, or a comic?
I don't know if it's in like the novelization of The Force Awakens, or if it's in. Oh, I wonder if it's in The Force Awakens visual diction. Oh, it could be right. It could be in the Last Jedi visual dictionary. I've read it somewhere. If somebody knows, please tell me, because I've read it before today that it was called Solo.
I think it's very fitting. It's little details like that really make sort of the galaxy sort of subtly seem really real. I think it's very beautiful.
Absolutely. What we need is like a scene with Rey going there to sort of, and oh no, Chewie going there to visit the star.
Oh, I got a tear in my eye now.
Definitely.
Well, it's funny, especially when you mention Chewie now, because obviously the loss of the great Peter Mayhew a few years back, and for me, that I share the same birthday as Peter Mayhew, and it was quite funny. I received a Lego calendar in the post today, and I had to skip to May, and I was so pleased to see that the artwork was Chewie.
Yeah, that's a wonderful, nice touch. Speaking of receiving things in the mail, if you were to order some Build-A-Bear Star Wars bears, I hear there's a hot sale going on right now.
There is. They are discounted by quite a few pounds and dollars, dependent on which site you're ordering from. There's the new Boba Fett bear, the Bantha, and the Loaf Cat, plus Grogu is on sale if you're looking for a cute stocking filler.
I think
they've just done a new Ahsoka bear, although that is not on sale. It is based on her appearance in The Mandalorian.
I thought that was on sale, but either way, I love that Ahsoka bear. The way they've changed, because when it first came out, I was disappointed that they didn't do a bear with the facial tattoos and that, and the new one just looks brilliant.
You going to be picking any of them up, Jason?
I'll be honest, I've sort of barred the kids from having any more Build-A-Bears because I haven't got enough room in my flat for them. But at the same time, I love the look of the new Boba, and I love the look of the new Ahsoka, so I'm sort of torn. But at the moment, I'm going to be good. I'm going to behave myself. But it's funny we talk about obviously sales there. I've just literally had come through on one of my alerts that WH Smith's got a Lego sale. So if you've been one of these crazy people that's paid over the odds for the Ahsoka figure, you can get the Battle of Mandalore set for I think it was £13.49. So you can pick up a Ahsoka figure for under £15. Brilliant.
That is really good. Kat, are you going to pick up any of these Build-A-Bears on while they're on sale?
Yeah, Grogu, Mando, and the Loaf Cat are on their way.
Already purchased.
Oh, I love it.
Speaking of Star Wars merchandise, there is new Hasbro products coming out. They've just put it for pre-order now. There's a Black Series Boba Fett from the throne room in Book of Boba Fett / The Mandalorian. The price on this is the deluxe figure. It's $32.99. To be honest with you, though, it looks like it doesn't actually come with anything deluxe. Removable helmet, jetpack, blaster pistol, and blaster. Where usually the deluxe come with more accessories. So I hope that's not going to be a change ongoing, because the deluxe figures so far have been really good and really worth the money. Whether it's the Jar Jar deluxe that come with the plasma Gungang shield, whether it was the Boba Fett from Return of the Jedi, which come with the cut in half blaster, and it come with the blast effects and the flames for the jetpack. The bigger figures like Zeb from Rebels, or like Wrecker from the Bad Batch, were obviously like bigger figures because they're actually bigger in scale. Don't mind paying extra for them being deluxe, but this Boba doesn't get as much deluxe with him for him to be at the deluxe price point. So I hope it's just a one-off, and it's not going to be a case of them taking advantage of us there because the RANCOR didn't get back. There's also some new pre-orders gone up in the vintage collection, 3/4 inch line. You can get Mandalorian with Grogu and with the Krykna or the Krykna from season 2 of the Mandalorian. Is it Maldo Kreis or Maldo Kreis, the planet they're on when they come across the ice spiders? There's also a deluxe incinerator trooper which comes with Grogu, and there's also a deluxe Imperial stormtrooper which comes with the big Gatling gun from the Navarro Cantina scene. And for Ahsoka fans, there's also a deluxe Ahsoka Tano with Grogu from the Mandalorian, and it comes with the I've forgotten the little owl creature's name. Is it Morai?
Morai.
There we go. Comes with that. So they're priced at $21.99, and the 3/4 inch line. And there's also a Gaming Great Black Series 6-inch Imperial Senate Guard, which does look pretty awesome. So yeah, that's sort of the new Hasbro figures. Anybody excited about any of those?
I think for me it'd probably be the Ahsoka figure, because I just pretty much love Ahsoka stuff. So yeah, I do. That one I quite like the sound of, and also the fact that it's got Morai in it as well, and Grogu. Although if it's got Grogu, it means I have to put it up on a higher shelf away from my daughter.
Or buy two and give one to your daughter.
No, the higher shelf is the option there.
Okay. Just a thing about this Black Series Boba Fett that's priced at $32.99 because it's deluxe. So the helmet's removable. For me, if you're doing a deluxe figure, the head should be interchangeable, so you should have like the helmet head and then the face head, if that makes sense. And then that way the helmet can't get squished or damaged in the packaging when it's not on the figure's head.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
If you're pricing it at deluxe, let's give it the deluxe features it deserves. I know what Mattel do it with a lot of their wrestling figure line. The deluxe ones come with interchangeable heads, hands. If you look at the Han Solo Black Series from like years ago, that came with interchangeable sets of hands. That wasn't in deluxe. That was priced normally. So I think for this deluxe Boba Fett here, you need to be at least giving us, at least give us either some extra accessories, whether it's some blades, some knives maybe, or whether it's a background or a doorway, or actually give us the throne maybe that he sits on, or things like interchangeable heads. Again, make this deluxe pricing worth it for the fans. I mean, it's a Boba Fett figure, so it'll sell out no problem because it's Boba Fett. But if it wasn't Boba Fett and it didn't have much accessories, you're probably looking at a peg warmer. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's it does. That's the problem at the moment with Boba Fett, with the likes of Boba Fett, Mandalorian, Grogu, and Ahsoka. They've sort of got a cash cow. So you've got to watch out what you're buying because you can get ripped off.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, that's where we're at with that. Any closing thoughts or anything we've discussed today, Jason?
No, the only thing is I mentioned earlier the affirmation cards that I purchased from Amazon. I'd never seen these before, but it's 52 ways to discover your inner Jedi, and they're quite cool. They're quite expensive. I can't remember how much I paid for them, but they're just quite interesting to look through and that. So I'm going to gradually go through them. I might in the new year I might start each week putting one up on my Instagram or something, and just work my way through there, and also show people that little thing. So that's something for me to do for the new year, I think.
That reminds me a bit of the Book of the Jedi Mind.
Yes, I've got that as well, which is a really nice book. Really, really got some brilliant artwork. It's a bit like the Women of the Galaxy book as well.
Yeah,
Women of the Galaxy was amazing.
Yeah, that's one of the. I bought that for my daughters because I felt it was important that they saw just how many female characters there are in Star Wars. And I absolutely love the artwork, the writing of that. Just really, really nice book.
Kat, have you got any closing thoughts or anything we've discussed today or anything we've missed?
No, I think we've covered everything really well, although I agree that so-called deluxe Boba Fett feels like that expensive thing you order on the menu because you really fancy it, but then it turns out to be a small plate of vegetables.
Yeah.
It's quite a disappointing figure, and I think they could have done a lot more accessories with it. I haven't actually bought a Black Series since a Star Wars Ventress. I haven't been impressed with them for quite a while.
That's funny. That's the last one I bought as well, and I think you were there, Kat.
I mean, you could literally give this figure a big vibro blade and a big Gaddafi stick, and then it's probably worth it. And those are things that the Hasbro company, like, they have molds for already for other figures, if that makes sense. So, like, it wouldn't cost much to add them in for this deluxe price point. So, like, again, it's like simple solutions right there in front of their face.
Yeah, this is the thing. There are simple solutions to keeping the fans happy, but maybe they need to take a bit more advice from some more of the fans.
Maybe I'll just put people in there who know what they're doing. I suppose if there's people in there who are a bit out of touch with it, then you need to move them on and bring people in who are on the pulse and can give the fans the product they want. Because Star Wars fans will happily pay for anything, but like you have to give us quality. Give us quality, we'll pay you, no problem at all.
That's actually really true. As Star Wars fans, we don't mind the price points, do we? If we want something, we'll pay for it.
Definitely, just give us quality, give us a good product, and we'll pay. We'll pay for it, no problem at all.
And if you stick Grogu on it, it'll go even better.
Jason, where can the people find you on social media?
I remember this time. It's at Hondo Ling.
Is that on Twitter and Instagram, yeah?
Just Twitter. I don't. Oh, you did that on purpose, didn't you?
You mentioned Instagram. You said I'm putting things on Instagram for you to see.
Yeah, I forgot about the Insta. I think I just double checking because I think my Instagram's slightly different. So.
Oh, this happens every time.
No, it didn't last time. That's not true. I was prepared.
He needs it tattooed on his hand so he can read it.
That's a good idea.
Don't encourage
If you get a tattoo on Arabic, it looks cool, and you just say it says something else.
Oh, why can't I find it?
We'll go to Kat while we're waiting. Kat, where can the people find you on social media?
You can find me at Kat Kylo, both with K's, on Twitter. Always happy to speak about Star Wars and Kylo Ren.
Jason, you found it?
It's looking like it's Jason John Ling, which is nice and easy.
There we go. And you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Geordie Jedi Pete. You can also follow the podcast on Twitter at Boz Star. And you can follow the podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Star Wars Podcast. We have a special episode coming on Tuesday the 14th of December. It's one of our Knowing Me, Knowing You specials. And we're going to be joined by Melissa Thomas from another Star Wars podcast. If you haven't checked that out, definitely check it out. It's on YouTube. That is another Star Wars podcast. So Melissa and her brother, her co-host. The last series they did was they reviewed the Bad Batch every episode, and they're gearing up to do the same for Book of Boba Fett. But yeah, we had a fantastic conversation earlier in the week, really geeking out about Star Wars, and that'll be coming on Tuesday the 14th, so get ready for that. But no, guys, thank you very much for joining us. May the Force be with you guys. Listeners, may the Force be with you. Remember, always tell that to Kanja Club.
Hello, Star Wars listeners. This is Savannah Odit. You might know me as host of The Dorky Diva Show with my co-host Brian Balance. I am also producer of The Adventures of the Zolan Dart, which is a Star Wars-inspired audio drama that we produced over the last year. If you love stories about smugglers, courage, heroic characters, and maybe a few foes along the way, you should go to thedorkydivashow.com and listen to The Adventures of the Zolan Dart today.
Shout! We've got your pigs.
Were any of the critters harmed?
What did you do now?
I didn't do anything. I just freaked out for no reason.
It was nice doing business with you again. Maybe next time we could deliver something less temperamental.
Now, what you call temperamental, I call fun.
Hey, is there a place nearby where I can make some repairs?
3 clicks south of here, you'll find a small spaceport. They should have what you need, as long as it's nothing too big.
Dynamic class? My stars, you don't hear about many of those still being space-worthy.
It's been in my family for a while.
She's pretty great. Any chance you have a hover cart we can use to load up?
I'll check out the HoloNet to see if anything new has come up in the sector.
My name is Sereth Khan. I am the chief here on Kamai. My people and I have been experiencing food shortages as of late due to unforeseen natural occurrences. We are looking to hire someone.
I say we take this one. The pay is great, and it's the type of job we're familiar with.
Welcome. You must be Captain Otoa. I've already sent word to Pac 2 to expect you in the next cycle or so.
You told him we were coming before we even accepted the job. That's rather presumptuous, isn't it?
Perhaps, though once I received confirmation that you were interested and on your way here, I couldn't help but hope.
Fair enough. Well, we'll be back as soon as we can.
Well, that's not good.
Is that blaster fire I hear?
So you're the one.
Captain, it sounds like they want to do this the hard way.
I love when they got some fight in them.
This is bad. This is bad.
We're about to have a lot of company.
I'll see you soon.